Good evening, Shreya. Good evening. शायद आएंगे सिद्धार्थ, हम पूछ लेते हैं अभी, छापिएगा मत।
भस्मांगराय महेश्वराय नित्याय शुद्धाय दिगंबराय तस्मै नकाराय नमः शिवाय. This is the holy month of Shravana, and we are in the holy city of Lord Shiva, that is Varanasi, invoking the blessings of Lord Vishwanatha and Mother Annapurna. I, on behalf of IQSC team of Basanta College and Basanta family, welcome all of you to J. Krishnamurthy's Pious Campus and the valedictory session of the National Webinar of New Education Policy 2020. Good afternoon to all of you. In this session, we have eminent persons as chief speakers and chief guests, like the Vice Chancellor of Birla Global University, Professor P.P. Mathur, and Dean and Head, Department of Education, Savitribai Phule University, Professor Sanjeev Ji. Now, I call upon our emotional backbone, source of inspiration, our most beloved Principal Ma'am, Professor Alka Singh, for her welcome address. Professor Alka Singh.
Thank you, Dr. Meenakshi Biswal. Thank you so much. And good afternoon to one and all. I'm extremely happy with this 2-day webinar on the National Education Policy organized by the IQAC cell of Vasanta College for Women, Krishnamurthy Foundation, Rajghat. It gives me immense pleasure to see the IQAC team working in every dimension to bring about a subtle improvement in the overall working of the college, to be abreast with the latest norms, technology, or the policy. All has been taken care of in the previous year and this year by the IQAC cell through this various forums or webinars which they have organized on the virtual mode. They have been extremely watchful, looking at the needs of the college, needs of the faculty members, and the needs of the students, our first stakeholders. This vision of theirs is indeed commendable, and the 2-day webinar on this very important understanding of national education policy, organized by them under the leadership of Dr. Seema Shrivastava and conveners Dr. Meenakshi Biswal, Dr. Asha Pandey, and Dr. Shreya Pathak, along with the organizing committee team members. So my heartfelt gratitude to them for creating this awareness in this college, and I'm extremely happy and humbled to welcome our chief guest, Professor P.P. Mathur, who has so very kindly consented to be on this platform, being the Vice Chancellor, Birla Global University, Bhubaneswar. Sir, I, on behalf of the entire IQAC cell and the fraternity at Vedanta College for Women, welcome you to this forum and look forward to an interesting closing session of the 2-day webinar. Your presence itself shall add a new dimension, energy, and motivate all of us who are on this platform. Thank you for being with us on this platform today. I also welcome our Chief Speaker of the Day, the Head and Dean of the Department of Education and Extension, Savitribai Phule University, Pune, Professor Sanjeev Sunawat. Sir, your presence and your guidance, being from the Department of Education, will enable us to be able to interpret the challenges posed by the policy and how does one meet those challenges to bring about an overall betterment and development in the college. I welcome you on behalf of all the members of the IQSSL and the fraternity at Vasanta College. Thank you for being with us, and also I would like to welcome all those other guests who are with us on this forum today and the students as well, if they have joined. And I hope that these 2 days have given us enough material to think, ponder, and implement in times to come. Thank you, one and all, for being with us. Thank you so much.
Thanks, B, for your warm and hearty welcome address. You are really always an emotional and moral backbone to all of us. Without your help and support, we can't do anything, B. Yeah, really, we are grateful to you, and we would like to have this type of leadership forever, forever. Since yesterday, we are hearing the scholarly discussions on the implementation and challenges, prospects of new education policy 2020. Now, this is the time for a report presentation. We have with us our young and active convener, Dr. Shreya Pathak, for the report presentation. Dr. Shreya Pathak.
Thank you, Dr. Meenakshi. I welcome and a very good evening, warm welcome to all the dignitaries in this platform. I'm now hereby going to present the report of the 2 days national webinar. The 2 days national webinar on National Education Policy 2020 Prospects and Challenges was organized by Internal Quality Assurance Cell, Vasanta College for Women, admitted to the privileges of Banaras Hindu University, Varanasi, on 17th and 18th August 2021. There were total 158 academicians and scholars who registered themselves for the national webinar from more than 15 different states of the country, including Assam, Andhra Pradesh, Arunachal Pradesh, Delhi, Goa, Himachal Pradesh, Odisha, Punjab, Pune, Tripura, Telangana, West Bengal, and many more. The inaugural session commenced with Vasant Kurgeet by Sri Hanuman Prasad, Assistant Professor in the Department of Music Vocal, followed by welcome address by Professor Alka Singh, Principal, Vasanta College for Women. She welcomed all the distinguished guests, speakers, and participants of the webinar. Dr. Asha Pandey, convener of the webinar and Associate Professor in the Department of Education, presented the introductory note on the theme of the webinar. The chief guest of the inaugural session was Professor D.P. Tiwari, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Veer Kunwar Singh University, Bihar. He highlighted the participative nature of the national education policy since the initial stage of making. He deliberated over the need of such policy with global changing scenario and scientific technological advances that calls for skill-based and professional education. He also deliberated over the revamping of the education system, focusing on universities and colleges and various issues and challenges on the implementation of NEP. The chief speaker of the session was Dr. Shakila T. Shamshu, former OST, NEP, Department of Higher Education, Ministry of Education, Government of India. She addressed the participants with a special focus on the formulation of the national education policy and highlighted the unparalleled participative nature from various stakeholders, interdisciplinary approach with holistic and integrated education, basic structural changes in the education system, right from school education to higher education, research criteria, and role of teaching faculty. The guest of honor of the inaugural session was Professor S.K. Savai, Dean and Head, Department of Education, Banaras Hindu University. Sir commenced his talk tracing briefly the history of education since colonial times, starting from the Charter Act of 1813, and highlighted the key features of NEP 2020. He deliberated over the recommendations related to NEP and focused on the challenges in the implementation and the execution of the policy after the completion of 1 year since its approval by the Government of India. The inaugural session came to an end with a formal vote of thanks by Dr. Seema Srivastava, IQAC Coordinator, Vasanta College. The session was conducted by Dr. Shreya Pathak, Convener and Assistant Professor in the Department of History, and all distinguished guests were introduced and invited by Dr. Meenakshi Biswas, Convener and Associate Professor in the Department of Education. The webinar conveners were Dr. Meenakshi Biswas, Dr. Asha Pandey, and Dr. Shreya Pathak. And the organizing committee included Dr. R. Mohanta, Dr. Archana Tiwari, Dr. Manjari Jhunjhunwala, Dr. Preeti Singh, Dr. Richa Singh, Dr. Yogita Bedi, Dr. Subhash Meena, and Dr. Rajiv Jaiswal. The team worked under the leadership and guidance of the IQAC coordinator, Dr. Seema Srivastava. The inaugural session was followed by technical session 1 on the topic Implementation and Implications of National Education Policy 2020. The second speakers include Professor Jasraj Kaur, Head, Department of Education and Community Service, Punjabi University, Patiala, who talked on the concept and principles of NEP 2020, highlighting the digital infrastructure, teacher-pupil ratio, courses, and implications. The second speaker of the session was Professor Latika Sharma from the Department of Education, Punjab University, Chandigarh. This was followed by a paper reading session where participants gave the presentation related to different sub-themes of NEP 2020. Technical session 1 was conducted by Dr. Meenakshi Biswas, and the speakers were introduced by Dr. Asha Pandey. The session ended with the formal vote of thanks proposed by Dr. Shreya Pathak. The second day of the webinar, 18th August 2021, commenced with the technical session 2 on the topic Role of New Education Policy 2020 in Promoting Equitable and Knowledge Society. The speakers of this session included Professor P.K. Sahu, former Vice Chancellor, Allahabad University, Prayagraj, who briefed on different aspects of education policy with much emphasis on the curriculum design and curriculum aspects, need of the skill-based education for employability in the competitive market, and also a good quality life. Second speaker of this technical session was Professor Dhananjay Yadav, Head, Department of Education, Allahabad University, Prayagraj. Sir deliberated on the role of government, private institutions, and all stakeholders in creating future-oriented, skill-oriented, self-dependent, and self-competitive learners. He emphasized on the flexibility of the education system and autonomy of the learners, providing them optimum avenues and choice. This was followed by a paper reading session where participants presented their papers on the main theme of the webinar. Dr. Meenakshi Biswas introduced the speakers in the technical session 2, and the session was conducted by Dr. Asha Pandey. It ended with the formal vote of thanks proposed by Dr. Asha Pandey. During this webinar, there were approximately 50 research paper submissions for the presentation on the theme of the webinar. On the second day, the webinar last session was a valedictory session, which is to be conducted, and it is honored by the chief guest, Professor P.P. Mathur, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Birla Global University, Bhubaneswar, Odisha, and the key speaker of the session is Professor Sanjeev Sonawane, sir, Dean and Head, Department of Education and Extension, Savitribai Phule University, Pune. With this, I end the report of this 2 days national webinar, and I also express my thanks to Ms. Anuradha Thakur for assisting me in preparing this report presentation. Thank you.
Thanks, dear Shreya, for your systematic and precise report presentation. Now, this is the time to hear from our chief guest and chief speakers. So, for the formal introduction, I am requesting my friend Dr. Asa Pandey. Dr. Asa Pandey, please introduce the speaker and chief guest.
Good evening. A very good evening. It gives me immense pleasure to introduce to you all our chief guest for the valedictory session, Professor P.P. Mathur. Sir is currently Vice Chancellor, Birla Global University, Bhubaneswar. Sir started his academic journey by doing PhD from Banaras Hindu University and served the Pondicherry University as Head, Department of Biochemistry and Molecular Biology and Dean, School of Life Sciences, Pondicherry University. He brings more than 40 years of rich academic and administrative experience. Sir has guided several PhD, MPhil, and MSc dissertations in his academic career. He has published over 185 scientific papers, reviews in various high-impact journals and books. His publications, you will be surprised to know, has H index of 36 in Scopus and 48 in Google Scholar. Sir is the editor. Sir is also the member of the editorial boards of many national and international journals, to name a few, like Frontiers in Endocrinology. He has reviewed more than 125 journals, and he has also participated in more than 100 national and international scientific conferences, conducted more than 3 dozen scientific conferences, seminars, and workshops. Sir has to his credit prestigious rewards and recognition like Ashutosh Mukherjee Memorial Award, Young Scientist Award by ISCA, Lifetime Achievement Award by ISSRF, ICMR International Fellowship Award. Sir has been visiting professor and scientist at the Population Council, also in New York, Cleveland Clinic, USA, Hamad Medical Center, Carter, and Sir has also visited countries like Germany. He has been chairman, member, coordinator of NAC peer teams to around 60 institutions, and almost served as chairman, member of many national, international academic and scientific committees. He has worked on various projects and received national and international funding, in which he developed a bioinformatics center at Pondicherry University, which was recognized as a center of excellence by the Department of Information Technology, Government of India. With this rich academic profile, we welcome you, sir, to deliver your valedictory address. Sir.
Thank you, madam. I am very much honored to be with you all today. Honorable Principal Dr. Alka Singh, Coordinator of IQAC Dr. Seema Srivastav, Dr. Shreya Pathak, Convener, Dr. Meenakshi Biswal, Convener, um, other distinguished faculty members of Vasanta College for Women Rajghat, uh, Chief Speaker Professor Sanjeev Sonawane, uh, all the participants for this particular webinar, ladies and gentlemen. Well, first of all, I thank the administration of Vasanta College for Women Rajghat for having me invited for this very important seminar or webinar on new education or national education policy 2020 prospects and challenges. Uh, of course, this particular webinar, I'm sure, is the last leg is there. So would have, and as it was reported that a lot of very known people and respected people, they have given their views and talks to the participants. In fact, I really do not know how to start and where to start with, because this is a huge thing, and I'm sure that most of the things are already told, and we have a chief speaker lined up today. But actually, the national education policy is different than the other education policies one or two ways. First of all, it is after a long time, after 80, almost like 30 years later, it is coming to a form of that. And earlier the policies described only the role of education. Actually, the education in this country has been suffering a lot for last many decades. And one of the reasons what I feel was the less amount of the money sanctioned for the higher education. It was less than 2% of GDP, which was being allocated for higher education, while the ideally it should have been the 6%, which is envisaged in now new education policy, and I'm sure that the government would be able to bring it to the level of 6% level. One of the things also was important that the graduates which are coming out of our university system, they are not basically conversant in different areas. And currently, the job market is like this, that a person has to be knowledgeable in many disciplines, and that's why the multidisciplinary approach is highlighted in this new education policy, and that's why the role of multidisciplinary institutions have increased, and the rigidity of the institution. Suppose like I was a student of Banaras in the university, as it is mentioned. Basically, all the faculties are there. But if one is student of one department or one faculty, it was not possible at all. It was unthinkable to go and sit in some of the classes. And that time, when I was a student of BHU, very known figures of different disciplines were there in BHU that time. If one was to attend some courses, some classes in other places, it was simply not possible. Now, through this new education policy, this kind of multidisciplinary approach in the higher education across the disciplines would be possible. The second thing which is there, it will be moving towards more liberal undergraduate education. And liberal, broad-based, multidisciplinary education is very much required for all the higher education institutions. And one of the important aspect of a university or a higher education institution is that it should have a multidisciplinary approach, and the enrollment which improves or which becomes higher and higher, the institution should be able to take care of everybody's interest. And this kind of approach is so important for the persons to cater to the requirements or to the needs or to the interest of the students. It is very well, it is very easy to conceive that in US somebody does some course in biochemistry, other course in physics, and the third course in dance or drama or something else, because the person might find the interest somewhere here and there, and you never know where the life takes it. And the other thing which is very important is the multiple entry and exit point. This is also very important because many of the students, for whatever reason, whether they have to compulsion to get a job or sometimes they have a compulsion of some other kind, they have to quit the subject and they might have to take up the jobs. Once they leave the system of the university or college, then they are completely out of the system. And if they want to study later, then only they have to come back and get admitted again and then see whether they can pass it. But now this academic bank of credit, which is now conceived, and it has already been inaugurated, but I really do not know at what stage the whole process is that. So, and secondly, the student, if it gets transferred from one city to other city, one place to other place, or for whatever reason wants to take a course in other institution, would be very, very possible that a student of ours want to take a course in some other institution within the city or within the state, other universities, or outside this university system, or even going abroad. The credits can be transferred from one place to other place. This is one of the points which is very important, and I feel that this would be a very important point which would help the students in achieving whatever. And if they want to exit, they will still get a degree. Suppose somebody wants to leave in the graduate first year, BA or BSc first year, would not get any degree otherwise. But they will get a certificate or diploma or degree or an honors degree or research degree or whatever it is possible to do there. The other thing which is very much envisioned is skill development and the kind of entrepreneurship development. So I think this is very important at this time because this country needs a huge skilled workforce. At this time, the institutions, and I'm talking about sciences because I always a science student, and I'm now seeing the sciences. The science discipline students or engineers, those who pass out from the various institutions, they hardly can do something on the field. And the other students also, even if you want to, you ask them to write a piece of letter or a piece of article or a piece of something, they are not able to write. So I think the skill development part is extremely important, and the entrepreneurship. And the other point which is important is the skill, the research aptitude which comes up, and the faculty would also be asked to involve themselves in research, and the faculty would also be involved in guiding the students, including the graduate students, to research, and thereby they will be able to do some kind of innovations. This country needs innovations in a large manner. Why America is America? Because it has innovations. Why China is going to this way, whatever it is doing? Because they are in innovations in patents. If you look at the list of the patents, we are way below. I think just only 2 days before I was seeing a newspaper and where the patents filed by different countries for there, India is very, very low. And I am not aware, I'm not counting whether the number of patents mean anything for us. Number of commercial possibilities patents are more important than the number of patents. In this country, I think many people in the race, like publication of articles, now when the government gives credit to the patents, so they are just filing some patents or other. It is quite likely. That's why the CSIR is focusing only on the commercial or the commercialized patents. So I think now we have to look forward for innovation. We have to look for the patents. We have to look for the students getting entrepreneurship done, and the kind of flexibility which is given here would allow these things to happen. The other things is this, that the societal connect also has to be important, because the institutions should understand that they are serving the society in which they are in, and they have certain responsibility, not only the corporate social responsibility or institutional responsibility. I think it should be an individual responsibility also, like has been envisioned, that everybody should have a responsibility, personal responsibility to the society that which we are doing. So I think this will develop in America. Lot of volunteerism is there, and the credits are given on volunteerism. Those students, those who do voluntary job, and the autonomy of the institutions would help. It's a double-edged sword, because a large number of our country has a very huge number of affiliated institutions, and conceiving all the affiliated institutions or the cluster of affiliated institutions becoming autonomous and giving degrees would be quite challenging one. Internationalization of higher education is also a very important thing, because India wants to enter into the international rating and ranking. But what the problem is this, that in our country, we do not have international faculty. Forget about international faculty, we don't have enough faculty also. If you look at the statistics of central universities or ITs, almost like 40-50% of the faculty positions are ranked vacant. So I think that it has to be a great effort on this side of the government, this side of administration, and on every front, that that we should enable ourselves to see that these things happen. And bringing international students is equally important than sending our students abroad. I think we have been doing very good in the area of sending our students abroad. But how many students we are coming to this country? Is it problem? I'm audible? Am I audible now? Is it okay?
Yes, it's okay.
I think my connection was lost for a while.
Yes.
So in the internationalization of higher education is extremely important area, where all the institutions should become compliant in such a way that some foreign students, they come in, and I would suggest that we not only focus on our students going abroad, we should focus the foreign students also coming in this country. That would change the complete education system, because when I had an experience, and I think our other chief speaker, Professor Sonamani, is from the university which has pioneered the foreign students program in this country. So they Pune is one of the very important places where a lot of foreign students come in. But there are only very small pockets in this country where foreign students come in, and the system has developed to receive the foreign students. And this, every institution should try to see that how the foreign students actually improve the internal quality, because the foreign students, they are not the kind of Indian students are. They are quite demanding. They challenge the teachers also. They challenge our system also, whatever is there, and they will bring in the culture which the foreign universities are having. So I think we will doing those kinds of things in this initiatives. The funding also is being conceived as a central funding agency like National Research Foundation, which, if implemented, would be a great thing. And but in all cases, whatever has been envisaged, what has been talked about, one key factor which is extremely important is the leadership. And it guess the leadership is not there of that kind. All the clauses, all the dispensation, whatever has been prescribed or whatever has come in the form of the new education policy would not be able to materialize. There are lots and lots of challenges in this because many places even proper infrastructure of teaching and learning does not exist. And talking about various kinds of mechanisms, I think it would be quite challenging. So I'm not going to detail about other aspects, but one of the other things which have been initiated is this, that some universities will be research focused universities or research universities where they will of course do the teaching, but the equal teaching and research would be there. And the other kinds of things will be the teaching universities where focus will be more on teaching and less on research. But the size of the universities which have been prescribed is quite huge, 5,000 to 20,000 of the students, because this is also one of the parameters where the rankings take place abroad, where the number of students are extremely large. So none of the universities have infrastructure where one classroom or one kind of a system can cater to the needs of so large number of students. And the colleges which are envisaged should be between 5,000 to 10,000. So if the number is less, then it will be enough challenge to offer that number of courses, and it will become financially sustainable. So basically, it is focused on liberal education. It is focused on 4-year undergraduate program. It is focused on internationalization of higher education. It is focused on multidisciplinary education. It is focused on the mechanism of career management and progression of the faculty, leading to quality and innovation and research, and the improved governance and leadership, and moving towards the transferability of the credits and the transferability of the students and autonomy, and of course the curricular development and the curricular. So I'm just summarizing. It is a huge thing, and I'm sure that these things would have been discussed in detail, and I am also looking forward to listening to Professor Sonawane, and I wish that the institution, and I know that this institution because I was in Banaras, and this was a reputed institution even that time, and it is J. Krishnamurti Foundation, and this was doing very well, and I'm sure that it continues to do so. And the very fact that they are conducting this kind of webinar shows the kind of determination the institution has towards implementing or towards making a roadmap for the implementation of the National Education Policy 2020. And I wish the leadership, the management, the teachers a great success in these areas. Thank you, madam. I'm sorry if some points I have missed. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for such an lucid and scholarly declaration. Sir had very nicely pointed out the points which are cancerous in our education system and how the new education policy is going to address these issues. The multidisciplinary approach will be very helpful for our younger generation. Sir has emphasized about the international exchange of students, improvement of infrastructure facilities, and the grants, financial grants to our universities. Sir spoke about universities like research universities and teaching universities. Sir spoke all most of the dimensions of education policy, like inclusive education, like experiential learning, multidisciplinary approach, credit transfer. Sir, all the best spoke about the new education policy in detail. Thank you so much, sir, for your kind attention and kind deliberation, sir. You have accepted our invitation. That is how we are really grateful, sir. Whenever we call you, please do come and inspire us, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, madam. Thank you.
I am inviting my friend Dr. Asa Pandey to introduce the second speaker, the fifth speaker, this valedictory Professor Sanjeev. Dr. Asa Pandey.
Thank you, Dr. Meenakshi. I'm happy to introduce to you all our chief speaker for the valedictory session, Professor Sanjeev Sonawane. Sir is head of the Department of Education and Extension, Savitribai Phule University, Pune. Sir has adorned the various administrative positions. He has been Dean, Faculty of Education in the University of Pune. Sir has also held the position of Director of UGC, HRDC in the same university. His field of specialization is teacher education. He has to his profile many recognitions, rewards, and scholarships like Award of Eminence by Indian Association of Teacher Educators, Best Teacher Award by Pune Municipal Corporation, E-Maharashtra by Government of Maharashtra for deploying ICT in the teacher education to University of Pune. Sir has also received international scholarships, and he has to his credit international and national publication in the reputed journals. Sir has rich national and international proceeding publications. He has authored and co-authored many books with international and national publishers on the topic mind-body management from Scholar Press Germany, physical education and yoga, to name a few. Sir has been constantly involved in the development of quality excellence model, like developed education excellence model for schools in 2011. Sir has also developed education excellence model for business school in 2015. He has contributed immensely in the international research projects on teacher education. Sir has traveled far and wide across the globe for professional involvement in the international conferences, seminars, and the countries like Germany, Norway, Australia, USA, Bangladesh, to name a few. Sir has been an active member in the international teacher exchange programs in countries of Sweden, Thailand, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, and has been member of NAC, Academic Council, Advisory Board of many universities. Sir has shown his keen interest in making the teaching learning process through his research areas on higher education, on open and distance learning, quality in education, inclusive education. Sir is constantly giving his services for innovative and effective practices in teaching, learning, and evaluation. With such a scholarly profile, I invite you, sir, to give your speech.
Thank you, Pandey Madam, Principal of the Vasanta College, Principal Alka Singh, and the seminar organizing Madam Seema Srivastava and her team, Professor Mathur sir and fellow participants who are connected through the web. Friends, just now the Mathur sir had long experience and his intellectual understanding of new education policy had touched so many points, very vital point for the, I think it will be challenge us to understood and how to implement it. That's a great challenge in front of us. My first question is that what this new education policy had given to our young learners. So to my mind, it's very interesting that our young learners, this new education policy is giving opportunity to become a global learner. This is the first my observation, and this is a great opportunity to them, not only by only where they have taken admission and completed the degree. So exposure to them henceforth, due to this new education policy, will be tremendous. Second thing is that this policy is proposing that the graduates coming out through our higher education system will be not only begging to burn bread and butter as a service, but they will become an entrepreneur, as Mathur sir had said, and they will provide bread and butter to the others. And these two observations are very important because they will be innovator, they will be entrepreneurs, and they will be a patent creator and intellectual property right holders due to this policy. And for that purpose, the knowledge society is the wider aim of this policy. But even though we have to be aware about this. Who are the stakeholders of uh, the higher educations? Everybody should be aware about the new education policy. This is the first challenge I think we are facing. And that's why over this, I appreciate the efforts taken by the Vasanta College to organize such a webinar and to conduct so many experts interaction through this webinar, so that lots of aspect of a new education policy will be clear to our students, to teachers, to stakeholders, to principals, to leaders, and larger, we can say, the sections of the society who are really will be shouldering the responsibility of implementing the new education policy. And this is the great work we have to do regarding what is in the policy, what we have understood, how we will change ourselves, the higher education institutions. As Mathur sir had said, total restructuring is happening in higher education. But due to this, I think we have to first understood the provisions in the policy, not only understood, we have to think over it, how my own institute is going to change. And as there will be 3 categories in the institutions, like colleges will be distributed in 3 types. The first, as the sir had said, that the research institute, research and teaching, and then the last one will be only a teaching. And there will be a provision to shift from one to another. And for that purpose, whether the colleges had a foresighted, where are we today? And after 10 years, where will be us? Where will be my institute will stand within this category and contributing to the nation building? That's the $1 million question. And that's why College Development Committee has to decide now. Every college has to document or create their own vision document, where will be our, after implementing this policy, where the higher education institute where I am working will be stand, and what type of new graduates we are going to produce, how the value of graduation we are going to raising it, and that's why it is very important. See, regarding the patent and copyright and the intellectual property right, Mathur sir had rightly pointed out. Just 1 hour before, our central government had taken one decision, and the Piyush Goyal, the Minister of Industry and Commerce, had taken one decision, which institute, any professor or any teacher or any researcher or student is applying for the patent, now the 80% rebate will be given in the patent filing fees. Just 1 hour before this. Then the question arises that how my institute or why my teachers and students will take benefit of it, and we will have a more number of patents. So what will be the intellectual contribution to conducting the research, creation of knowledge, and that's why it is very important. To my mind, the 4 objectives of higher education, we have to understood it very clearly. The first one is creation of knowledge. Second one is the storage of knowledge in the form of research, journals, articles, books, authoring the books and so many things. And the third one is dissemination. And now the dissemination will be in 3 areas: regular mode, online mode, and distance mode. So whether my institute is ready for delivering the knowledge by this 3 mode or not, or eligible for that, that's again the question. So interesting thing is that how my own college or own institute is going to restructuring, and what opportunities are there due to this new education policy, and for that purpose how my college or my institute is ready, and I am making our own students ready for that. And that's why understanding of the new education policy truly is very important. And a number of patent, how there will be. Now the number of research article, though in the API score and this UGC had done, but you already know that how these articles are published and who are reading it afterwards. So citation index are very important. How many are in a scope of journals, and due to that, really the patent and copyrights will play a very important role in the next year. So how my institute and my student and researcher will be reaching the number in this line, that's the thing. Just now, the sir had referred to the academic credit bank. My point is very different regarding this. I had gone through the document, UGC had produced it, and they are saying that when the student will complete the first year, they will be awarded a certificate course. Now, when second year will be completed, they will be awarded a diploma, and then third year they will be awarded a degree. Now the question is that if you see the document regarding the multiple entry and multiple exit, academic credit bank is saying this will exist for only 7 years. The credits will be a 7 years deposited there like a bank. Our money will be there, but money will be forever. Whenever we will withdraw, we will use it. That year will be utilized. But here only 7 years they will remain. Another interesting thing is that we have to consider that just now every institute and every degree, every university is awarding certificates and diploma courses. And they are of a few credits, 4 credits, 10 credits and all these things. But this new education policy, this academic credit bank is saying that the first year will be of a 34 to 40 credits. And then the certificate will be awarded. Now, just now we have a 4, 10 or 8 or 6 credits. Now, how it will be matched existing? Then we have to shift from this 4, 5 or 10 credits certificate program to the 34 to 40 credits. And that's the great challenge to institute from transfer from this certificate, existing certificate to the another one. Then the linking to it, this is when they will complete a second year. At that time, they will be awarded a diploma. Now, we have a diploma of how many credits? We have a diploma of 16 credits only. But this document is saying that there will be 70 to 80 credits. Then the diploma will be awarded to the credit. And then why I am explaining all this thing. What is the practice just now? And how we have to change ourselves for accumulating with the implementation of a new education policy. That's the interesting thing. Then existing certification and how we have to change it. This is the one thing. And another thing is that just now I said that you will be a national learner or a global learner There will be lots of credit redemption. You can store the credit, transfer the credit, acquiring the degree and all this thing. But the question is that whether the Indian education system, higher education system, has a fee structure of as per the credit? No. Very few institutions have that one. And that's why the first thing we have to change, that's the fee structuring. And that fee structuring will necessarily change and conform immediately as per the credits. And how many credits I am doing from out of my, where I had taken an institute admission, out of that institute, then why should I pay there? I will pay to the institute where I'm acquiring the credit as a online or other way, not only from the same institutions. And that's why the transfer the credit, the biggest now, the obstacle is the fee structure. Now we have a tuition fee structure for a year, and that has to be abolished, and new structure to be according to the credit. One credit, how many credits will be there? According to that, each credit, the fee structure to be designed and to be implemented. Then and there will be the credit system, unless the student will be hesitated to go for the other institutional credits to acquire and take a credit. Another interesting thing is that just now the University Grant Commission, there will be just now I share with you regarding the delivery of a knowledge. Very interesting. I said that the objectives of higher education is the creation of knowledge, storage of knowledge, delivery of the knowledge, and this delivery of knowledge will be 40% will be from a online basis or outside now, and any from there. For that purpose, University Grant Commission, Swayam portal, and they had taken in lots of contribution regarding this. And University Grant Commission had mapped some courses of some teachers from various universities from the nation, and they put on the website, and they said that these are the recognized courses to be adopted by the students. Also from the Swayam they can adapt. Also from the globally, if we go the Coursera, edX, and all this thing, they can acquire the credit and they can store, and they can submit it for the awarding the degree. And that number is 40%. Now the fear immediately reach in our teachers. The 40% workload will be reduced. It will be outside. Then 40% teacher will be surplus or not. And that's the challenge. Nobody is giving to the confidence to our teachers, teacher fraternity, whether what will happen due to the students will acquire credit 40% from the outside. But here, the workload of the teachers has been designed according to the workload of the institution. And if the students are acquiring the credit from outside, so how this workload will be considered now of the teachers, and they are fearing that whether really implementing this 100% implementation of a 40% provision in completing the credit from outside will really reduce the number of teachers from each institution or what. And that question is still not answered by the University Grant Commission or any other institutions. The internationalization of higher education, so that's the sir had touched very well. The Savitribai Phule Pune University is a destination of a international student. Why? Because we have a culture here, the very international student friendly atmosphere is there. Lots of facilities are there, from their insurance to the fee structure. We have a separate directorate of international center there who are taking care of their visas and their visa, their admissions, their entrance, and after completing also how the mark sheets and everything, the credits communicate to the countries. Lots of the ambassadors of the countries are different countries are visiting at the university and solving the problems. So this type of environment and ecosystem to be created by the institutions of higher education in India to have a destiny of the international student at that institute. And for that purpose, you should have your own institute's policy of creating atmosphere for international students, and that policy to be designed at a local level, which will be very parallel and coincide with the national policy. See, the international regarding that, why the students should come to India in Indian Institute to learn. And there should be in specific courses which are not available anywhere. And that knowledge will be provided by only the Indian institution. And that's why they will come. And that delivery of knowledge will be of a international level. And for that purpose, as the Mathur sir had rightly said, that the ranking of Indian university to be raised. And for that purpose, see what type of efforts to be taken. The one of institutes of eminence, one scheme was launched by by our MHRD from 4 or 5 years before, but still it is not accelerating it very well way. But the special attention to be taken for that purpose. So the big challenge for us is the 2035. That means from here around 14-15 years, the affiliation system to be finished, abolished, as Mathur sir had said. That means every college will be degree awarding college. How the capabilities and competencies of these colleges, are they really able to award the degrees, and then cluster system will be introduced, and who will be monitor this cluster system as a cluster university concept. Maharashtra having a Homi Bhabha cluster university established by the government of Maharashtra in Mumbai, but still it is to be in a primary state. Lots of obstacles are there. No leadership is there. Since 2 years that university is established, no vice chancellor is there, and this things to be prioritarily resolved by a political will leaders, also the state government and all these things. So you see why this affiliation to be given, because they are given a autonomy to introduce a locally needed or globally needed courses to be introduced there, and that type of knowledge to be delivered there, so that our student will be not only the bread and butter beggar, or they will be a bread and butter provider. And that's a great thing. I think if it is implemented very properly, it will be done. The next challenge before this again at a 2035 is that the GAR to be reached to the 50%. Friends, it's very difficult to understand it very well. I am keeping some statistics to you. That just now the GAR is 26%. And how many number of students are there? As per the higher education survey of India, it is around 1.25 crore students are engaged in higher education just now in Indian higher education system, the second largest higher education system than China. But friend, now the challenge is that next 15 years, it should reach to the 50%. That means it will be twice. 2.50 crore students will be engaged in higher education. And for that purpose, after when India becoming independent, at that time, 35 university was there. And around 35,000 students was engaged in higher education. See the journey of around 75 years journey. The 35 universities or few universities to the more than 1,000 universities and 35,000 students to now 1.20 crore. It will take 70 years, and how it will be reached within 15 years to a 2.50 crore is the challenge before the Indian higher education system. And for that purpose, I think the new education policy and some provisions are very vital. We have to understood it very well, and making these autonomous colleges to contribute in this line to become capable to raise the GER in this line. So for that purpose, you know that at the just now in a 1.20 crore student we are absorbing in higher education system. How many teachers are there? How many universities are there? How many classrooms are there? How many laboratories are needed just now there? How many libraries are there? How many books are there? How many teachers are recruited and their salaries and run these universities and higher education, the financial implication if we see there. Even though there are private universities, deemed universities, central universities, state universities and all these things. So the financial need for this purpose will be very high, and for that purpose, just now the Mathur sir had rightly said that the provision for higher education to be raised, but the government is committed to it. They had raised something, but it is not enough, and it is not enough, and that's why three mode of awarding the degrees, the University Grant Commission, according to the new education policy, has proposed. That I shared with you very lightly, that the regular way, just now we are in a regular admission mode, and we are giving them a opportunity to learn and awarding the degrees. The distance mode, when the IGNOU and other state open universities are contributing in this line, and now the policy of a University Grant Commission, there is a Council of Distance Education, and institutes are recommending, institute are approving them to have a distance education board. But still the number are less, and also just now the acceptance of a distance education degrees has been established in India. Now the third mode, that is the online mode of awarding the degree, that is going on, and very few universities has been now introduced a online degree. But there are, and that's why this online degree or the distance mode need not need too much infrastructure there. The learning material is there, and self-learning or heuristic approach of learning is taken place there, and that's why we can raise the number. But then again, whether each higher education institute is capable to run a online courses, what type of infrastructure will be needed, that is the digital infrastructure, that is more important, and then online learning, creation of e-content, these are the challenges, and for that purpose, lots of training to be given to the teachers to accumulate with the system and be friendly with the application or deployment of the technology for that purpose. So these are the things, actually, very few things. I am going to finish within 2-3 minutes. My last 2-3 minutes are there. What are the key challenges? The first challenge is that up till now only the Karnataka is the only state have adapted and accepted that we are going to implement this policy, but none other states had come out to accept this policy and ready to implement it. Another challenge is that the leadership challenge, which the Mathur sir had really said that. If I ask you one question, what is the procedure of appointing the Vice Chancellor? That they are the real leader of the universities, and what type of people are appointed there. Really, there is a political interference, how it will finish, what type of leadership, because we are the Vice Chancellor appointment is a selection process, not a grooming and nurturing process, where I visited as a researcher or to complete my research project, or a visiting faculty in a foreign university. When the Vice Chancellor changes, the 6 months process is going on there to appoint the Vice Chancellor. And when the new Vice Chancellor is appointed, before 6 months of a previous Vice Chancellor, and the newly appointed Vice Chancellor has to work with the previous one, the outgoing Vice Chancellor. He gets the total idea of what type of academic leadership and research leadership has to be provided to this institution. What are the legacies there? What are the culture of that institute and all this? But that is absent in Indian higher education system, to appoint a Vice Chancellor and create a leader. We are not creating the leaders. We are in higher education. We are only selecting, and there are so many objections in the selection procedures of the Vice Chancellor. How the great leader will be appointed, then only, as the Mathur sir had said, if the great leaders will be there, visionary leaders will be there, problem solver leaders will be there, and leading to really all inclusive stakeholders there, then only this policy will be succeeded. The export of a higher education, we should have a demand to our courses to be taken by the world students, out of India students. And for that purpose, what type of quality programs, online programs, we have to design, and for lots of things we have to quality online programs we have to produce there. Multidisciplinary approach, as sir had said, the concept of multidisciplinary, interdisciplinary, transdisciplinary, and metadisciplinary to be to be very clearly understood by the teachers. And according to that, because it is very important there, the uni subject cannot be solve a problem of the society. And for that purpose, lots of, you take any example, you take social problem or any example, we will take an environment example. So environment is a science subject, chemistry is there, physics is there, engineering is there, biology is there, lots of things are there, sociology is there, education is there, lots of other subjects are involved, economics and other subjects are also there. So lots of things are there. So not only a one subject, uni subject cannot be solve a problem, find out a solution. For that purpose, the knowledge of another peripheral subjects or allied subject is very essential. But I welcome this opportunity to the student to have a multidisciplinary approach. But whether our institutions are ready for that? Our teachers had the attitude and approach of a multidisciplinary teaching learning process. Whether our degrees, somebody had completed a degree in a multidisciplinary or interdisciplinary, whether it is accepted for their cash and other purposes in higher education or not, till it is in a dark. And for that purpose, lots of things to be clear from the authorities at a national level, they will do. And the last, my point is that whether really, to my mind, I had studied all the policies of India, all the reports before independence and after independence also, all reports are good. All reports are good. All the reports at that contemporary period, they had suggested a very good suggestions that what about the implementation? And if implementation, still nation is waiting for the implementation action plan of this new education policy. And I think the Vasanta College has to conduct a series of lecture, series of webinars for implementation when the National Education Policy 2020 implementation action plan will come. At that time, again, we have to meet together, appreciating the efforts taken by the Vasanta College and Madam Alka Singh to have a discussion on this, such a very important nation building and future of higher education, new education policy discussions, deliberations, and lots of things you have done in a two days. So wishing best and giving me opportunity, expressing my thanks. Dhanyavad. Jai Hind. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Such an elaborative deliberation. You have pointed out about the creation, storage, and dissemination of knowledge. That is very essential now, because in higher education mainly, the teachers only used to just teach and think that their work is done. But now it is essential that we should have three things in our mind: that creation, storage, and dissemination of knowledge in different forms. And
this one when I am implementing, one thing I remain hurriedly. That is the last one is their fourth one: creation of knowledge, creation of wealth through this knowledge. First, creation of knowledge, storage of knowledge, dissemination of knowledge, and creation of wealth through this knowledge. Then nation will be built. So sorry that I had interrupted.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. And you have pointed out the dissemination of knowledge in three forms, that is in face-to-face mode, online mode, and distance mode. And as per National Education Policy, the online mode curriculum exchange should be 40%, and that is anyway we have different portals, and the SWAYAM portal is created, and there are so many registered courses where teachers and students they can take. We have our peak courses, that annual refresher course for teachers, and it was very nice that I also last year, 2 years back, I also appeared in that ORPIC course for research methodology, and it was really nice, that online mode of teaching, learning, and examination. It's a new learning exposure. And sir, you have spoke about how the particular institution will implement these things of new education policy, and you have emphasized on the restructuring of the higher education system and credit gain and credit transfer system also. And you very nicely explained that how we can store our credit. Students can store their credit, and whenever they need, they can use those credits. It was really an eye opener. And the fee structure, that is a very nice, important thing. The interesting thing that the fee structure of the students will be decided as per their credit, and there will be internalization of higher education system, and that's a very nice thing. And that internalization will be like very nice point you have told, that the international student will come to India to know such a knowledge which is not available elsewhere. So here at this juncture, we have to have a specific delivery system, internationalized delivery system of our specific knowledge, and that knowledge delivery system also should be international level. Very good. Yes, we have to really come out of our cell to think about the internalization of our education system. And you have spoke about the cluster university system, and that system should be locally needed and globally needed course. Locally needed and globally needed means the knowledge which will be given to the children, and the children will be efficient and efficient to earn their bread and butter locally also and globally also. That's a very nice thing, because we are creating global leaders, global leadership. And you spoke about the multidisciplinary, interdisciplinary, transdisciplinary approach. Really, sir, you have given a very nice eye-opener to all of us, that those now we have like in our participant, as a participant, we have a plethora of participants from different corner of our country, from north to south, from east to west. So all of them will think in a different line, and a very special line, that how we can be internationalized and global in our teaching learning process, in our knowledge creation, and in our knowledge wealth creation. So it's really fantastic. Of course, there are certain challenges, and I think we will overcome that challenge, because in India, we are very well known for overcoming different challenges. We are really good at handling challenges, and we are, Lord has given us that strength, that how we can manage the resources with very, very low resources. That is how we can improvise our system, and we can go ahead, and we can think ahead, we can think internationally, and act globally, and we can make our students, our younger generation, very effective and very efficient, multi-challenged, multi-talented people, multi-talented, creative persons, so that our country will be the torch bearer for all other countries. Very nice, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for such an eye-opening deliberation. We are really happy to listen to you, and we are really thankful that you have accepted our invitation and enlightened us. Thank you so much, sir. Both of you, like Professor Mathur sir and you, Sanjeev sir, you have really made our day today, and our participants are very happy to hear all of both of you. Thank you so much. And now I call upon Dr. Asa Pandey to wind up this situation with with a special vote of thanks. Dr. Asa Pandey.
A very good afternoon to all of you. Now that the valedictory session has come to an end, it is my privilege to propose a vote of thanks. The Internal Quality Assurance Cell of Vasanta College for Women extends a sense of gratitude to our chief guest, Professor P.P. Mathur, Vice Chancellor, Birla Global University, Bhubaneswar, for gracing the valedictory session. IQAC is also grateful to our chief speaker, Professor Sanjeev Sonaway, Dean and Head, Department of Education and Extension, Savitribai Phule University, Pune, for exceeding our request and enriching us with his views on the policy document. Our heartfelt thanks to the speakers of both the technical sessions, Professor P.K. Sahu, our heartfelt thanks to speakers of both the technical sessions, Professor Jasraj Kaur, Head, Department of Education, Community Service, Punjabi University, Patiala, Professor Latika Sharma, Department of Education, Punjabi University, Chandigarh. We are also grateful for the speakers, Professor P.K. Sahu, former Head and Dean, Department of Education, Allahabad University, and Professor Dhananjay Yadav, Head, Department of Education, Allahabad University. The IQAC team is grateful to our manager, Sri Siddharth Menon, Principal, Professor Alka Singh, our coordinator of IQAC, Dr. Seema Srivastava, for their continued support, both explicit and implicit, in organizing this webinar. We are fortunate enough to be backed by a very proactive and dedicated team members of our IQAC, Dr. R.N. Mohanta, Dr. Archana Tiwari, Dr. Manjari Jhunjhunwala, Dr. Preeti Singh, Dr. Richa Singh, Dr. Subhash Meena, Dr. Yogita Berry, Dr. Rajiv Jaiswal. Thank you all. We also extend our warm regards to the faculty members of our college who showed their keenness in participation despite their engagements. The IQAC team is also expressing their gratitude to the fellow colleagues who have participated in the 2 days national webinar from all over India, and they all showed their synergic zeal and interest in helping us achieve the objectives of the webinar. I personally acknowledge the support of my fellow conveners, Dr. Meenakshi Biswal and Dr. Shreya Pathak, for their special proactive initiatives and moves in organizing this workshop. The IQAC team also puts on record the help and support of our office staff, Mr. Mehtab Ahmed, Mr. Moin Khan, and Mr. Manish, in making the use of logistics of services. We are also thankful to our student representatives who have constantly shown their interest and worked with us. Bihulina, Rupali, Anuradha Thakur, Dimple Chaube, God bless you all. And the media person and our media colleagues like Dr. Vandana Jha and Anjana Singh, who have given the wide coverage to the medias in the local newspapers and the national newspaper of this 2 days webinar. In the end, I would just end by a beautiful quote. Nights change, but not dreams. Paths change, but not the destiny. Always keep your hopes alive, because luck may or may not change, but time definitely changes. With these words, I wish you all happy and fruitful learning ahead. Thank you.